till Monday morning at 12:01 midnight. So you can log in on the weekend just to make sure you've got access, but you won't see any of your course until early Monday morning. I'm hoping you've all ordered your books. And obviously, we've stressed in the email, you know, if you get a chance, try and read some of the chapters of Strangers at Our Gates, which is the first book, and apparently very interesting because it is the history of immigration in Canada. When I sent the original email out about these orientations, I sent all of you a second email that had 4 attachments. These are very, very important. If you have not read them already, please do so before Monday. 2 of them are fact sheets that kind of answer a lot of the questions that you may have about the program. But most important, and the one that is the fact sheet, James has created a 15-minute video which walks you through all aspects of using Moodle. And it's been uploaded into YouTube, you have access to it all the time. So if you ever forget how to do something, again, you can just refer to the video. James is going to be reviewing it again this morning, just kind of walking you through where everything is. Moodle is a platform that is so everything is on the one screen where you can access the different areas, and we've just found through previous classes it's worked really, really well. So again, make sure that you've done that. A couple other things that I just want to go through. Obviously, the reminder about your live sessions, which are every Tuesday and Thursday, 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., which is Toronto time. And then a couple of things that are important that we feel is very important for you, because obviously you're taking this program because you would like to become a regulated Canadian immigration consultant. And so what we highly recommend is to make sure that you try to write your licensing exam as soon as possible after you complete your program. So as you know, because you're starting March 28th, it's going to work out really well that you can actually write your licensing exam this November. So because of that, as you know, there are some ICCRC requirements. You have to pass one of those 5 English tests that were sent out to you on the original syllabus and are also on the ICCRC website. Take whichever one you're comfortable with. If you are not sure which one to take, my graduates are recommending the CAEL, C-A-E-L, which is the Canadian Academic English Language, because the students are saying it's the easiest. So apparently they only require an overall band score of an average of 60, whereas with the IELTS Academic it's 6.5 in all 4. So if you're comfortable with the IELTS, please do. But again, if you're not sure, you can just Google CAEL, go to their website, all the information is there. We do have prep classes before each of the exam dates. Once you have graduated, we send an email out to all of the graduates with the schedule of dates, and it is an online prep class which is spread over a few different days, basically because we want to make sure that you're well prepared before you write your licensing exam. Another issue, of course, as you all know, in addition to your 16 weeks online, there is the 8-week internship, which is to gain work experience in an immigration firm. The internship, as you all are aware, is part of your diploma and must be completed in the last 8 weeks before graduation, and this must be completed because it is part of the diploma. Margaret from our Career Services Department will be reaching out to all of you at some point during the program. Obviously, if you're in the Toronto GTA area, we have immigration firms that we deal with to help the students. If you are out of province, as a little bit of networking, she's going to recommend research 2 or 3 immigration firms in your city. Send the names to Margaret, and they will contact them on your behalf. So again, we just want to make sure that you know, that you're really set to go. So while you're taking your program, we highly recommend try and get the English test done. The other requirement is you must provide a police clearance for every country where you've resided for 6 months or more, going back to the age of 18. So again, if you need to get updated police clearances from your home country, I highly recommend getting it done as soon as possible. I had a graduate that didn't realize his country was going to take 6 months and he missed his exam date. So again, every country is different. So, oh, I'm just getting a note. Sandeep, am I too loud? Got a comment from Sandeep. Okay. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yeah, we're good, yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. Thank you so much. I was worried about the weather outside. Does anybody have any specific questions at this point before I turn it over to James? If you could just type in the chat box. If not, we'll do a Q&A at the end.
Okay.
Okay, so perfect. So James is just typing in a comment, and he's going to be taking over to do your review of Moodle. Okay. Here.
Unmuted.
Hey guys, James here. Well, I can tell that you can hear me because Karen's got her speakers on. Yeah, you might want to turn them down. Great. So yeah, welcome everyone this morning. Hopefully not too many of you had to brave the ice storm like those of us in Toronto. So you can see my screen now. I just basically wanted to run over some of the stuff that we're going to go over in the video that will just sort of help you to navigate. So once you get your login and you get into the site and you log in for the first time, you should land on a page that looks something like this. It can be a little bit challenging at first to navigate to find where your courses are. So one of the things we want to go over is just sort of how to get around and how to do that. So over here on the top left-hand corner, I don't seem to be updating on my display. You guys don't see me highlighting anything, do you? Why is it not doing that? Sorry about that. I just want to make sure that when I'm presenting where I'm looking on the site that it's updating for you guys, and usually the highlights will go through and you can see them, but it looks like it's not doing that. Yeah, Karen, maybe I'll go back and use your computer. Sorry guys, just 1 second. There we go. All right, now that's going to work for me. Can you guys still hear me though?
Muted.
You cannot see any video. Should be okay now. Can you guys hear and see the highlights now on the screen? I just had to switch computers. The other one didn't seem to be updating, but the audience view that I get that goes out to you guys says that it's updating properly now. So, okay, there we go. Now we're back on track. Sorry about that, guys. Oh, Karen, you weren't logged in. Yeah, no, that time's out. Technical difficulties this morning. My goodness. There we go. Okay, so now we're back to where we were. Sorry about that. So top left-hand corner, when you first log in, now you see the highlights. That's your navigation bar. So your, my home is good to know, because if you ever get lost and you click home, I'll actually click it and it should bring you right back to your course overview. So that's back to this page. That's going to be helpful. My profile is, we encourage folks to go in and update that. I've tried to create your accounts within Moodle to be province specific so that your time zones are updated. I didn't put in your cities, so if that's of a concern for you and you want everyone to know what city you're living in, you might want to go in and update that. We also encourage that you put a picture up and a little bit about yourself, just because that's one of the avenues where you get an opportunity to get to know each other as students participating in here. Unlike a classroom, you don't get to sit in class together, so this way you get a sort of chance to put a face to a name. And in the session last night, we got to a point where people were talking about maybe creating like some study groups and whatnot, and updating your location and your profile, as well as putting some information in your meet and greet discussion, will really help for you guys to be able to figure out if you're in the same areas and how to get together, kind of thing. So rather than trying to navigate through all of the courses to find your current course and which one you're in, the easiest way is to go back over here on the left-hand side and just click My Courses. Now, my courses are going to look a little bit different than yours, but what you'll see when you click that is you'll land in this course. So IC 100-1603 is for you guys. Your course code is 1603 because you started in March of 2016. So that sort of helps you to identify your courses. So what you'll see is over on the left-hand side, you should see won't have the functions that I have highlighted here. Those are for administration. But in the navigation bar below, you'll see how you can navigate through portions of the course. There's also messages down here that you can see when your classmates or your instructor sends you effectively emails within the Moodle system. And then there's this clock function down here as well. As I was saying about your time zones, what this does is it should demonstrate to you what your relationship in your time zone is to the server. So you can see that my time and the server time is the same, because the server is set to Toronto time and I'm in Toronto. But that is important, because if you're on the East Coast, it means your deadlines will be a little bit different. If we say that your assignment or your quiz is due by midnight, if you're in the East Coast, it'll probably be 11 o'clock your time, and if you were in Vancouver, it might be 2 or 3, it would be 3 o'clock in the morning your time. So the server clock allows you to know what that differential is, so that you can, gauge your activities accordingly to meet your deadlines. Back to the middle of the course, that's where basically all of your content is. I'm going to come back to that in a second, but over on the right-hand side is also a really helpful area of the website to explore. So you'll see that over here you've got a calendar. That's highlighted now. You can see that the bottom 3 squares here in the last row have highlights in them. What that means is that there are deliverables or activities that are due on those days. So your course starts on Monday the 28th, and then on the 29th, if you mouse over here, you'll see that there's a quiz on Tuesday and a live session. And then if I were to mouse over Wednesday, I've got a discussion topic, and then if I mouse over Thursday, I've got a quiz and a live session. So that just really helps to let you know what's upcoming, what your deadlines are, what your deliverables are, what your activities are. There's also latest news, so your instructor can put up breaking stories about reformed immigration law or anything like that. And then there's the upcoming events, and it's also a really helpful feature because it lists sort of in a list, as opposed to a visual graph of the calendar, everything that's upcoming in your weeks that you're going to need to do. So looking at those, you can see that you do have live sessions at 6:30 p.m. Remember, that's Toronto time, so you'll want to adjust accordingly. You'll have discussion topics, quizzes, midterm, so forth.
we'll go over in the middle, and then I'll sort of talk about the components as we go through the course content. So when we go back to the middle of the site, it's your course-specific information. The top section here that I have highlighted is sort of your administration portion of the course layout. It tells you your course code, title, the textbooks that you'll want to be referencing for this course. There's a news forum, which would be similar to latest news over here, where your instructor can make announcements and send out emails to the class. There's a welcome form here. This is where we were encouraging that you go with and just sort of a bit about yourself, and then maybe also if you're interested in participating in those study groups, maybe make that public there. We won't share student emails back and forth, but of course you guys are free to if you'd like to, but you also have the message system within the course. Your syllabus is here, and your syllabus is very important. I suggest that you read that right off the hop. It talks about all of the course policies, passing rates, deadlines, support systems. It gives you your access to Moodle support and GoToMeeting support. Both Moodle and GoTo have 24-hour support lines that you can either access through web pages, frequently asked questions, or telephone numbers to speak to reps. Your faculty bios here, so you can get to know your instructor a little bit. And then there's also the rubrics and the student handbook. So the rubrics are for your discussion topics, and they outline what your grading criteria are. So while you're writing your discussions, you'll want to look at that and keep it in mind. And then your instructor uses those rubrics to actually mark your discussions. The handbook obviously is the full Herzing College handbook, the policies and procedures of the college. The first section here is part 1, so you can see the dates, the 28th until the 2nd. There's an overview of referencing and writing, which I encourage everyone to look at first before they start writing their discussion posts and in subsequent courses your assignments. And then we have resources. So if you click the resource link, you'll see that we end up at a page where we list, just waiting for the website to catch up. There we go. Resources in here. So you can see that there are website links. This doc to help you do, basically it's a summary of years of immigration. There's the apps that are listed below, and there you'll see points from your chapter. So, and Karen was asking if you already. Great. You don't, then you should just be without our word. Asking what are on quizzes, and there is, if the quiz is like we just looked at here, part 1, March 28th to April 2nd, then is basically eligible for anything, the resources or the textbook, the PowerPoints from that section of the course. You'll also get PowerPoints from your present. Might be available before the lesson, and sometimes you can run. Then you see live sessions. So here you can deny that we've again reiterated at 6:30 to 8:30 Eastern time sessions. To access the live sessions, sort of like you email, you need a link to do that. You to in sessions, and there are 2 PDF files. And if you open, you can click the link, which will be for this call. Alternative for the screen. The session is here. So you can access them from either way. I'll go back into the course. Down here you'll see discussion topics. Generally in each class there are a discussion topic every week. You're required to do typically 2 posts, one primary and one secondary. The primary post is designed to answer some sort of a question, whether we've presented a scenario or asked a question or sent you to do some research. Your primary post should address that topic. And then when you do secondary posts, you're going to be reading your classmates' primary posts and then making constructive comments and driving the conversation further through your secondary posts. To access them, it's pretty easy. You just click the link. You'll see that the summary of what's required in your deadlines are there. And then at the bottom, you'll see a topic. So this one is develop a discussion on the key points of the history of immigration in Canada. I just gave you a hint. You can start doing your homework if you want. And then to answer, you just go down here. My mouse isn't working very well. And then between the highlights here, there's a button saying add a new discussion. So you just click that button and an interface will open up and you type away, put in your sources and hit save and you're good to go. Once there are posts up, there'll be a reply button and that's where you can answer your classmates for your secondaries. You're thinking, what am I talking about? There we go. So there are things that are called discussion topic grading activities. The system won't let us mark a discussion forum within the forum, so we create additional assignment activities for your instructor to mark using that rubric that I talked about up at the top. So I hide them from you initially because I don't want to confuse people thinking that you have more assignments than you do. So if you see discussion topic, primary rubric grading activity or secondary rubric grading activity, those are not deliverables. That's just where your teacher's going to mark. And then from there, you'll get your feedback. Below that, you'll see quiz 1, quiz 2, and the midterm. And as you can see, they say available from 12:01 to 11:59 Eastern Time. So what that means is once you can write the quiz at any time you want between 12:01 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Eastern Time. So you could write it at 3 a.m., you could write it at 6 a.m. or 10 or noon or, 5 o'clock if you wanted to. But once you initiate the quiz, the 1-hour time limit will begin. So if you start it, you want to be fully prepared to write it and do the whole thing. Your first quizzes are 10 multiple choice questions. So you're doing 10 questions in an hour. It's about 6 minutes a question. It's open book because you have access to all of your resources, so you'll just want to get all of those available and ready for you ahead of time. And then down and write the quiz. The midterm limit, you have quite longer. Give you a fair amount of time on the questions at first, but we do want you to be aware that when you get to writing your ICCRC full skills exam, you're going to be writing 100 questions in 3 hours. So if you do the math, I'm giving you 1 hour to do 10. They're going to ask you to do 10 times that many questions in twice the time. So you're going to have to build up your speed and your ability to answer these, but we try to start off a little bit easy on you and not kill you right out of the gate. So that's sort of the complete portion of part 1, and then we go into April 4th to 9th, and it's pretty much a repeat. Sources for that section of the course. You have another set of live sessions that are there. There's another discussion topic with grading activities. Got your quizzes, and then your final exam is Monday, April 11th. So you get the whole weekend to prepare for it. That's really the overview of navigating the course. Once you have participated in things, you're going to be looking for marks. So over on your navigation side, there should be an area where you'll be able to select your mark. You'll see your marks for each individual course in the course, your overall program performance and total marks you'll get from the link to the Herzing site, which will come out with your logins. Last night people asked about passing marks. Good question. Our pass is a 60%. So on any given assessment, quiz, discussion, assignment, activity, you need to get 60% to pass. you need to get 60% in each course to pass, but to graduate, your overall average needs to be at least 70%. So that means you can get a 65 in one course as long as you get an 80 in another, and that'll average out to be a 70 overall average. On passing and performance sort of guidelines, deadlines are firm. I mean, you're going into a practice where you're going to have very strict deadlines and you're going to have clients, you know, livelihood and lives on the line. So deadlines are always going to be very important for you. And because we open things up for a full 24 hours, like that quiz is available, regardless of what your work shift is or whether you have children that go to school in the morning or afternoon, or you've got to cook dinner or you've got a work meeting at night, you can always find an hour within those 24 to get in there and do the quiz. So deadlines are firm, and if you miss them, you'll get 0 on those assessments. Discussion topics and assignments are typically due by midnight, so you have to start reading them all the way up until midnight to submit them. And if you read your syllabus, you'll see all of the criteria for, you know, late submissions and things like that. I think that's the main overview. Does anybody have any questions at this point? If you do, you can either type them or you can type, yes, I have a question, or you can give it a shot to unmute your mic if you so choose. Ah, that's a quiet group. How about somebody tell me, oh, there we go, what happens if you fail any component of the course? How do you make up for it? Well, Maria, I guess I'm questioning if you mean a component of the course, like quiz 2, for example. There wouldn't be a makeup. You would want to make up the assignment, for example. Yeah, if you've missed a quiz or an assignment, there isn't going to be a makeup within the course. You're going to want to make those deadlines. If that means that someone is unsuccessful at passing the course, then we can schedule a retake for the course, but obviously that will have scheduling complications or potentially delays on your graduation, because you do need to complete and pass all of the courses and reach that 70% before you can go to placement or graduate. So it really is important that you stay on top of these. Do all the some courses have additional? Brian, it'll change. Courses can vary. This course, for example, has no assignment, but some of the other ones will. This course has 4 little quizzes just to, you know, get you used to the quizzes and chunking through the material. Some of the subsequent courses only have 1 quiz and a midterm, so it will vary. You'll know what your deliverables are by reviewing your syllabus and the upcoming events and the calendar, as I was saying before, and then you'll see everything that's required in that particular course. So I think that addresses Maria's question and Brian's question. Anyone else have any other questions? Yeah, Sandeep, that's a good question. Basically, all your quizzes and your midterms and finals are all multiple choice. Your full skills exam is also a multiple choice exam, as I was saying, the 100 questions. So we try to model all of our quizzes and our exams to be like the ICCRC exam with all multiple choice questions so that you get prepared for writing that. And the questions can be tricky. I'm just going to give you a heads up. They're not just, you know, what's the right answer, 5, 6, 8, or 10. They're often scenario-based with multiple possible answers, and you want to try to identify the most correct, if not correct, answer and use it that way. And again, this is modeled after the ICCRC exam so that you start getting used to dealing with those kinds of scenarios. Well, David, it really depends on individual, practice and time management. The program is sort of set to be about 20 hours a week, so probably somewhere between 12 and 15 hours for an average individual to work through. Obviously, it depends on what your goals and what your aspirations for performance are. With reading the material, logging in and participating on the drafting your posts, doing the quizzes, and the live sessions, you're probably looking at somewhere in the range of 20 hours. I mean, if we do the math, 4 hours in live sessions, 5 hours per week in quizzes, so there's 14 hours right there, and then your discussion boards and your readings. Now, I mean, obviously, when I say the quiz takes an hour, you don't have to take an hour. You're given an hour. You might finish it in half an hour, so it really depends. Can you guys still hear me, or Maria's saying there's no audio? Well, Sandeep's saying yes, so I'm assuming that means you can hear me. Okay, good, good. Any other questions from anyone? Those ones were all good questions. They sort of reminded me of some of the things I wanted to talk about, but I think we've covered most of the other areas unless anyone else has anything. Hearing nothing. Okay. Well, welcome. And oh, Brian's in regards to books. You want to get them. Just waiting to see if Brian types more of that question. You have a link to purchase the books, so you can get all those. Well, we do strongly encourage that you get them all. Nope. No, Brian. The reading list should cover your required readings. You'll have a lot of supplementing. Your schooling and your industry one, because it's helpful to have print material to reference and to read, but they go stagnant so fast because of changes in immigration law that happen on the fly. So the books that we've given you are the foundation for your reading and your basic, get in the practice of always going and checking current, latest, greatest updated news on the industry. So the books that are there will be good for you, and then the rest will be supplemental resources. So welcome to the course. As Karen said, my name's James. I'm in here, and I'm also the program administrator, so you'll see me in and out of your courses on some of the messages and make sure everything's going okay. If you have any questions, you can always send me a message or an email, and we'll see you soon. Sorry, Wenju, in case I have terminated one session, is there any credit for the module I've already taken? So your question, Wenju, is if you start studying the program and then stop, do you get to keep the credits you've earned? The answer to that would be yes. Any completed course successfully gives you credit. Don't forget, though, that any of your credits in this program have a 3-year shelf life. So if you take the program and you do not go and write your FSE exam within 3 years, you need to come back and retake the program. ICCRC does not recognize your credentials longer than 3 years. So to answer that question, yes, you would keep credits, but they would only be valid for that time frame. Good. All right. Well, I'm going to turn you back over to Karen, and you guys have a great weekend. Happy Easter, and we'll see you on Tuesday.
Thanks, James. And I just want to finish off on the call last night. Talking with the students, they were talking about if some students live in the same city, you know, getting together on a Saturday, etc. And then one of your classmates went ahead and set up a Facebook page for all of you to join, and she sent me the information, which I'll be sending out to you this morning. It'll be a separate email, which I think is going to be kind of cool, because this way you guys will be able to connect with each other as classmates, you know, which should make it a lot of fun and more interesting. So again, welcome. Enjoy your Easter weekend. If you have any questions or concerns, you can send me an email. My senior admissions advisor, most of you are probably from now, I'm going to be sending you his email again and his extension in case there's anything that's going on, as I will be on vacation starting on Saturday, and so I just want to make sure that you 12 days in Florida. Yay! Anyways, I'll send you the contact information. I just want to make sure you guys are all set to go on Monday, and Aaron is all set to look after you. So again, enjoy your weekend and enjoy the program. It's going to be really interesting for you. Thanks, guys.